Knicks made a pretty big trade today at the NBA trade
Says
deadline.
who? Says who?
Says not you, clearly.
What's your definition of big?
Let's restart.
So Bogdanovich, right?
Let's restart this. Fading perspective, expected, so accepted. They couldn't even hear me. Deja un like, comentario y subscribe. Dame dato. Knicks Rehab. We in the mix. Let's get right into it. Stephen A. Smith. The Knicks trade deadline was no big deal. Is he right? Do you agree? Let's see what he has to say, because, we don't really believe in him.
Knicks made a pretty big trade today at the NBA trade deadline.
Says who? Says who?
Says not you, clearly.
What's your definition of big?
Well,
so Bogdanovich, right? Alec Burke, right?
Yeah. Would you like to have seen a bigger move?
No, I'm saying they're okay. I mean, if I sat up there and I said to you that there's another team that got Bogdanovich and Alex Burke, would you say that's a big trade?
Not necessarily.
Well, then why are you saying it's a big trade for the Knicks?
Knicks could have used some depth. Do you disagree?
No. It helps them.
Yeah.
I didn't say it doesn't help them. I didn't say that it's not going to help make them better. I didn't say it's not going to help them once Mitchell Robinson and Julius Randle come back.
Yeah. That's just going to help them if Mitchell Robinson and Julius Randle come back. That's just going to help them. Let's see what else he says, because this is clearly he's off. The Bogdanovich, Alec Burks completes. It's a big deal in many ways.
I'm saying you said big. Now, if you're going to tell me big while we sitting here at Super Bowl week on Radio Row, I need something more than Bogdanovich. They had gone out and they've got a DeMar DeRozan or something like that. Okay, now we're talking. But Alex Burke, Bogdanovich, I mean, it helps. It doesn't make them worse. It makes them better. But I'm not jumping for joy.
Knicks made a pretty big trade today at the NBA trade deadline.
Says who? Says who?
Says not you, clearly.
What's your definition of big?
So you see what he said. It's not a big deal because we didn't add one of the superstars that he's groupied out over. Like, let's cut to the chase. What is a big deal? He said, even if we were to get Julius Randle and Mitchell Robinson back, that's not a big deal. Right? And I guess, how long are we just going to use these media members as examples of people that do not watch the Knicks? They're on television and they're there for entertainment purposes. They're there to be a bridge towards commercials. That's what he's there for. Let's keep this 1,000% clear. We did one on Kenny Smith yesterday. That's been running the whole day. It's been doing some great numbers, 3,000 views. Thank you guys for helping us cross 6,500 subscribers. Some of the super chats you guys left in there. Some we got memberships on YouTube. Thank you guys for helping us out. Do we go crazy? Of course I go nuts. But I go nuts because think about it. These are the kind of Knicks fans we've been dealing with my whole life. It was the same thing when Carmelo got here. That was a big deal, right? I guess that was a big deal. The bigger deal for me was that we lost the core and the identity of the team when Carmelo came here. There's no disrespect to him. But what do you think is going to happen if the house looks different now? Yeah, same house from the outside. Yeah, but when we go in, it's like, you move the stairs over there. Man, look, you got little gold nuggets on the staircase. All right, it looks like kind of shiny. All right, that's cool. Kind of hard to get to the bathroom now, though. You made me go around to get to the big kitchen now. Do you understand? Like, teams that complement each other make it easier. So if you have a star, again, I always bring up the Miami Heat for this reason. Is everyone shocked? How can you be shocked when Dwayne Wade got hurt if he was injury prone, right, during their run? That's not shocking. That's the problem you have when you have a super team. You got 2 or 3 guys, everything's relied upon them. If one of them is more than likely, not more than likely, but there is a chance of them getting injured, especially when they are injury prone. And when that happens, how do you make up for it? It's hard. How are you going to have a next man up mentality when you go from D Wade to whoever's on the bench, and they're making D Wade money? So he wants us to get Donovan Mitchell. That's a big deal for him today. he thinks adding Donovan Mitchell right now will be a bigger deal than whatever we added at the trade deadline. Oh, look who it is, the big flea. I don't know if you got to hear the Stephen A. Smith rant right now.
Yo, for real quick, 2 minutes, y'all. This is not even basketball related. This is to the parents out there in the comments right now. Let me let y'all know something, man. Stop sheltering your kids. Let these kids grow up. I'm so sick and tired of these kids in today's generation being coddled and pacified by us parents in the world. These kids today need to grow up and assume some responsibility and just figure it out. Figure it out. 3 words. Figure it out. I'm 36. I figured it out. Fabian is slightly over 40. He figured it out. Children, if you're watching right now, let's help by growing up just a little bit. Just a little bit. Please. Please, parents, instill that in y'all kids. Stop coddling them. Let them grow up. Let's get into some basketball. Sorry.
Clearly, Flea was frustrated by today. Here is your man, Stephen A. Smith.
Knicks made a pretty big trade today at the NBA trade
Says
deadline.
who? Says who?
Says not you, clearly.
What's your definition of big?
Well,
So Bogdanovich, right?
Yeah.
Alec Burke, right?
Yeah. Would you like to have seen a bigger move?
No, I'm saying they're okay. I mean, if I sat up there and I said to you that there's another team that got Bogdanovich and Alex Burke, would you say that's a big trade?
Not necessarily.
Well, then why are you saying it's a big trade for the Knicks?
Could use
because it matters. Because of our roster. You goofy ass nigga. Because of our roster.
It's a family show. Let's not.
Because of our roster. Barney. Like, what are we talking about right now? If Alec Burks and Bogdanovich were added to another team, yes, we would have different emotions and different thoughts about it. But because of the team they were added to, see, this is why I feel like these personalities and media personalities are so goddamn disingenuous. Because you know why it is big for the New York Knicks and why it wouldn't be big for the Celtics. You know why it is big for the New York Knicks and why it wouldn't be big for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Like, this is a big move for us. It bolsters our roster. But he's sitting in front of somebody else who probably doesn't have a huge platform, who probably doesn't have the following that at ESPN, that these other platforms have. So he's going to get up there and say something goofy. It's a big move. You were on Disney, you were on ESPN ranting and raving about the move. Then you come to a lower level podcast or platform, whoever it is, and try to act like it's not a big move. Be authentic, goofy. Be authentic. I don't like that shit. I'm sorry.
Yo, whoever like pissed off Flea at the supermarket, if you have a YouTube account, I need to give you a super chat. We need to get you involved in Flea's phone every day. I love it because this is live and direct. Let me finish this up though. That was crazy.
It helps them.
Yeah.
I didn't say it doesn't help them. I didn't say that it's not going to help make them better. I didn't say it's not going to help them once Mitchell Robinson and Julius Randle come back. I'm saying you said big.
It is big, goofy. It is big. We add a shooter. We add a guy that Thibodeau loves, a guy that was our starting point guard in the playoffs a couple of years ago. A guy that we didn't feel good about losing. A guy that defends. A guy that hits open shots. A guy that is team first. Low ego. I just watched Bogdanovich say, listen, I've missed the playoffs once in my career. Once. I look forward to playing in big games, in big moments. That is what he said in his opening press conference as a New York Knick. Goofy. We can't hear you, Raymond Fabian.
It's what he says that's so crazy. Like, how does you follow that up with, I'm not saying Julius Randle and Mitchell Robinson won't help. What do you mean won't help? If Julius Randle and Mitchell Robinson are healthy, the league is terrified. I don't care what anybody says.
What does that microphone say around what does that say around the microphone? What does that say? Can y'all see
USA
that?
Today.
Sorry?
USA Today.
USA Today. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense now.
But We know him. This one on Kenny Smith earlier. Like, these guys don't watch the game. You guys are on TV. You have the New York tag on you. You sound like you from here. Just say you don't watch the game. That's my thing. You don't watch the game, bro.
That's
You just
it.
go up there. All you got to do is say, yo, man, according to my people at Knicks Rehab, according to Knicks Fan TV, according to, like, they watch the game. The same way he claims that, like, and then you had the nerve to squat over Max Kellerman like that. When Max sounded like he watched the game, not for nothing. He wasn't as big a personality as you are, but it looked like he gave effort into stats or something. And you will be visibly frustrated because he was ethering you. And he really was ethering you because you were insecure. Because you couldn't believe that he did his homework. You couldn't believe he showed up on Monday and did his homework for Sunday.
I cannot wait to hear from Max Kellerman. I think Max has done it the greatest way possible and not showing up nowhere. I'm not showing up on anybody's platform. I'm not showing up on Fox. I'm not showing up on Marcellus Wiley. That's my guy. I'm not even going to show up for him right now. I'm going to be quiet, cash my check for the next year or two, however long that deal was. I'm going to cash my check. And then when I'm done, I'm going to let you goofies know about this brother right here. I'm going to let y'all know what time it is really. Oh, my. I cannot wait to hear from Max Kellerman. That was a brother that came to work every day prepared to talk about whatever. I don't care if you didn't like his takes. I don't care if you didn't like his personality. Whatever you didn't like about Max Kellerman is fine. The dude came prepared to work every day. Whatever topic you wanted to talk about, he was ready to talk about with facts and his own opinion. Whether you liked it, that's another conversation.
And it's just the fact that it's clear as day you didn't even know who Isaiah Hartenstein was a couple months ago.
Weeks ago.
You said that's crazy. I thought it was months ago. And then with Jalen Brunson, you said, oh, we were going to give up a first-round draft pick for him. It was like, that's their guy. They have a plan. We weren't mad at it because we were like, yo, he's good. We didn't know nobody knew he was this good. Not even, I don't even think they knew he was this good. But it's just the fact that we wanted a point guard. We just didn't want Donovan Mitchell alongside with that. If you're watching the game, I think you still did, but it was an argument. And we can argue, me and you can argue, because you're watching them and we're talking about things that have to do with the game. You never really, I mean, I guess some people did argue the box office thing. All ball definitely talked about superstardom and all that. And I said, bro, ain't no way I'm sitting down here sacrificing everything again just to have the Carmelo Anthony thing happen again. I don't want that. And that's what this guy wants. Because what I was getting into before you jumped on is it makes sense for a guy like this that thinks everything has to be loud. I made it because I'm loud.
Look
if
at
it ain't loud.
Look at his hairline. Look at his shirt. Look at his jacket right now. Look at what he's doing right now. Everything is supposed to be see me. Everything. I just watched him for a week in Vegas. And because they had so many strong personalities up there, every day I saw him, he was with another loud suit. You're rivaling Clyde Frazier at this point. Like, this is who you're rivaling right now. You clean, but you're obviously making a statement by your wardrobe, respectfully. Like, come on, like this is
finish up. I'm sorry.
Nope, I'm done. Go ahead.
If you're gonna tell me big while we sitting here at Super Bowl week on Radio Row, I need something more than Bogdanovich. They had gone out and they've got a DeMar DeRozan or something like that. Okay, now we talking. With Alex Burke, Bogdanovich, I mean, it helps. It doesn't make them worse. It makes them better. But I'm not jumping for joy.
Knicks made a pretty big trade today at the NBA.
But see, this right there, pause that garbage. See, this right here. Real guys that are invested in the game of basketball, real guys that sit down and really study it. I said it earlier to somebody, and I ain't even going to name drop them because respectfully, they don't even deserve a name drop right now. I love you to death, but you ain't getting a name drop right now. I said to them,
damn,
plenty of guys don't watch basketball, but just want to be in the conversation. They just want to be in the mix. They don't watch it. They're not invested in it. But because it's a popular topic to talk basketball, let me dive in and try to talk basketball, even though I am not invested and I have no idea what I'm talking about. But I'm just going to talk off of my bullshit memory and what I watch at 12 o'clock noon on ESPN. And I'm tired of those people. I am sick of those people. We need to draw a line of demarcation in the sand for the people that really love it, like me and yourself, Fabian, and for the people that just want to just talk just to be in the conversation and in the mix. We got to start drawing a line, y'all. We love this too much. This is called Knicks Rehab. This is a therapy session daily. We love this too much for y'all to be coming in here not invested in Knicks basketball or basketball, period. I've been ranting. I'm going to be quiet right now. Fabian, talk to me.
Yo, I'm telling you, we got to find that guy in the supermarket, man. Or them kids that rouse you up like this.
My son! My son! My son! I love him. My son!
So Stephen A. Smith, I just, like you said, he wants to stand out, and that's cool. Don't get me wrong. And I will say this, though, also, I did give him props earlier this week, because when you watch other shows, you can see there's a big difference. Even Mad Dog Russo gave him props for like rejuvenating his career and everything. But again, another loudmouth. Shannon Sharp, if we're keeping it real, another loudmouth. Shannon Sharp is great when he's breaking football down. But other than that, what are you really talking about? How are you? You're just a LeBron James GOAT, and it took you some time to get ethered after ether, really, to finally come to the conclusion that, all right, maybe I'm not, some of this got to be LeBron's fault or the Lakers' fault. Like there's more to the game than just that one player. And when they make it about just one guy, it's like, bro, that ain't basketball. That's not life. It really isn't. It's not about you, Stephen A.
We would bring in DeMar DeRozan. We would bring in a Zach LaVine. We would bring in a Donovan Mitchell. We would bring in a star caliber player to, one, demand 15 to 20 shots a game, minimum. That's just is what it is. When you're on the court and you are that type of player, you need the ball in your hands to be effective and to be a part of winning basketball. So some guys like that would take shots away from, once we get healthy, a Julius Randle, a Jalen Brunson, guys who have put us in position for us to be even able to go and get somebody, for people to be even interested in playing for us. So you hit doubles and singles until you get an opportunity for a guy like Giannis, for a guy like Joel Embiid, for a guy like Anthony Davis. These are polarizing figures that when they come to the team, yes, the pecking order changes. But no, I'm not willing to jeopardize the pecking order for DeMar DeRozan, for Zach LaVine, for Donovan Mitchell, when we've built a team that is potentially 2, 3, 4 in the Eastern Conference, when we've built chemistry, when we've built the defensive identity. When you bring in those type of guys, you're bound to step back before you go forward. With a Bogdanovich and an Alec Burks, you're bound to stay even or take a leap. We're not going to take a step back trying to add those guys into the mix. We're not going to have to figure out how to find them shots. These guys are coming to the team looking to add on us, for what Tibbs brings us defensively, our defensive identity. They have to bring that or you won't see the floor. Bogdanovich is going to come and hit open shots. He's a 20-point per game scorer right now. You understand what I'm saying? So if you do bring in the guys that Stephen A. Smith says is lights, camera, action, Mr. Cheek style, right? If we bring in that type of guy, then it changes what we're doing. If we bring in guys that feel like we're hitting doubles and singles, it just adds to, when we get fully healthy, scary. Very extremely scary.
And I think that happens when anything becomes super popular, becomes into the, what they call it, not the Uber, the zeitgeist, like the most popular thing in the world right now. Like the Knicks went from laughing stock to now they're entering a zone where it's like Stephen A. Smith is a mainstream guy. We know he doesn't watch us. He only watches mainstream stuff. So he has to talk about them now. And a lot of people are talking about them now, including JJ Redick. JJ Redick, I wanted to see your reaction because he sounds a lot like you when it's like reluctant to say that we are finals contenders.
I'm reluctant. I'll be honest with you, Knicks faithful. I'm a Knicks fan through and through. I'm reluctant to jump out there. Let's hear what JJ Redick had to say.
50. And then you've got the Suns at plus 1,400. Clippers in there at plus 550 as well. And
Before that.
like that's their offense, right? Seasons. The Knicks offense is not a complicated offense. Generally speaking, they run some ISOs for Randall. They run pick and roll for Brunson. And most everything they do is out of that. Now, they run some fluff. And by fluff, I mean a zoom action, dribble handoff at the top of the key. Brunson cuts through. He then gets a swing pass, and they run a step-up pick and roll. It's everything ends up in a Jalen Brunson pick and roll or Julius Randle ISO. Like, that's their offense, right? You need shooting around that offense. You need bigger defenders. OG, I said this at the time, great fit. They go 14-2 in January. Their defense has been spectacular. Hartenstein has been spectacular.
I like how he said that, like he knew 14-2 was going to happen. You didn't know that, did you? Knock it off, JJ Redick.
Spectacular. The Knicks are for real. The Knicks are for real. Love that trade. And by the way, this is the DraftKings Sportsbook odds.
Tommy, what's up, Tommy?
Pre-trade deadline. So we are recording this at 3:13 p.m. on Thursday. These are the odds as of this morning. The Knicks basically seventh best odds to win the NBA Finals at plus 2,500. Just to go through these real quick. Celtics, Nuggets, Bucks, all at.
Just briefly, I just wanted to get something off. Real fast. We see a lot of guys with podcasts, former players, right? We see a ton. I'm not going to go through the list because I'll probably leave somebody out, but there's a ton right now. And all subjective, all whether you like it, you dislike it, whatever, it's content and it's out there for us to digest, right? JJ Redick is the only guy that is auditioning for a head coaching job every time he turns the mic on. Every time that mic turns on and he sits in front of Tommy and whoever he has in front of him. I don't even care about the guests because he brings some really, really solid guests onto that Old Man in the Three podcast. But every time I hear this guy talk the game of basketball, break down what's going on in the league currently, I feel like it's an audition, it's an interview to be a head coach in the NBA. Remember, I said it here. You may have heard it somewhere else, but remember right here, Knicks Rehab Flea is telling y'all, the next 2 to 3 seasons, you will see JJ Redick on the sideline coaching an NBA franchise in some capacity. Remember, I said it here first. Fabian, go ahead.
Well, he did. He was trying to coach the Toronto Raptors. He didn't get the job.
He didn't get the gig.
Why do you think he didn't get the gig? No, why do you think he didn't?
Me personally, here's how I feel. I feel like Masai is the head of that ship, is the head of that snake. He makes them go in terms of front office construction, in terms of roster construction. He does everything for them. I feel like Masai does not want to allow JJ to cut the line. He does not want to allow him to skip the line. So he did not put him in a position to be a head coach. Now, that could go, that could be contradictory to Jerry Stackhouse. Jerry Stackhouse won a G League championship as the head coach or the assistant coach next to Nick Nurse. I don't know if he was the head coach or the assistant coach, but Jerry Stackhouse was in position to be a head coach in the NBA. Right. And right. Masai Ujiri didn't give him an opportunity. He went with Nick Nurse, right? So what I'm saying is that I think Masai Ujiri, is in a spot where he doesn't want to allow anybody to just skip the line. I think he appreciates going through the grind, putting yourself in a position to become a head coach. Because to be honest with you, had he not, he could have very well made Jerry Stackhouse the head coach of that team, right? He could have very well went after Nick Nurse went left and decided to join Philly. He could have very well hired JJ Redick without any coaching experience. He could have just did that. It's not like it's not going to be the first time that we see a former player get a head coaching job without prior coaching experience. It happens, right? You got to have a certain cachet. 2 of the best point guards in NBA history, 3 of the best point guards in NBA history got head coaching jobs without any coaching experience. Steve Nash, Jason Kidd, Isaiah Thomas. These guys just got head coaching jobs without sitting next to somebody. Chauncey Billups, right? Like, you have to have a certain cachet to do that. Maybe Chauncey was sitting next to he may have been an assistant coach. I may be wrong about that, but there's a couple of guys that come to mind right now. And then there's some guys that got to go through the grind. I think Masai Ujiri is a proponent of guys going through the grind. That's why JJ didn't get the job.
So Darko, this guy Darko, what did he do?
I would like to know his past history, but I'm almost sure he was an assistant coach or a head coach at some point in his coaching career. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Darko Rajakovic. Career history as a coach. He coached a lot in
overseas.
In Europe, looks like Tulsa 66ers though. But an assistant for the Oklahoma City Thunder from 2014 through 2019 from the Phoenix Suns 2019 2020, and for the Memphis Grizzlies from 2020 to 2023. So as of recent, he might get, who might get credit for him is, and he was an all-star assistant coach during the NBA All-Star game for 2014. So you know how that goes. This guy might get credit for him. What's the guy from the Pelicans right now? I mean, I'm sorry. Did I say Pelicans or the Thunder? The Grizzlies. All right, who's the Grizzlies coach?
Taylor Jenkins. 2014, he was with the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's what they said.
Yeah, 14 to 19.
So Scott Brooks and Billy Donovan, both those guys, right? Both guys. Scott Brooks was there, and then Billy Donovan comes in. So both those guys and Taylor Jenkins. So, can you give me his name again? Radjanovich.
Darko Radjakovic.
I want to get it right because everybody deserves to have their name pronounced correctly. Radjakovic. He's under some good stock, right? Billy Donovan is a respected head coach, still has a job to the day. Scott Brooks is on the bench right now. He's next to Chauncey Billups as his assistant coach. And who do we say? Taylor Jenkins is still the remaining head coach for the Memphis Grizzlies. So he's got some decent stock. So which is why he's the head coach of an NBA franchise to this day. That's why I feel like JJ didn't get that opportunity with Toronto. But I would not be surprised for JJ Redick to be a head coach on the sidelines in the next 2 to 3 seasons. Would not be surprised.
The first person I think of when I think of JJ Redick is like a super nerdier, cooler. Like he looks like my favorite show ever is Mad Men, and with like in Don Draper. I forgot Don Draper's real name. He was in
You're a lunatic, but I love that.
Yeah, no, Mad Men is just the way it was written.
Hell of a show.
Yeah, Matt Weiner that wrote that. I think he was on the staff of The Wire and The Sopranos. I know it was an HBO show, and the HBO should have had Mad Men, which would have made it crazier, but AMC got it. But that's what he reminds me. He carries himself with that 60s elegance, JJ Redick, but he's really a prick like Pete Campbell. He looks like Don Draper, but he's really a prick like Pete Campbell. And he's a super cooler, nerdier version of Steve Kerr for me. Steve Kerr was a guy, he totally impressed us on the airwaves. When they say he was gonna be a head coach or a general manager, I was like, yo, I don't have to agree with everything he says, but he persuades me every time he speaks. And JJ Redick is similar, except when he just goes crazy with the new school versus old school. Like that's when you lose me, because it's
that's where he doesn't show a lot of balance. He shows a lot of favoritism to us, meaning today's player, as opposed to yesteryear. I'm not really a fan of that guys played against plumbers kind of thing. I'm not a big fan of that term. I get it, but I'm not a big fan of the term because there's basketball players from this era. There was basketball players 30, 40, 50 years ago, right? So let's, we could talk about and people in the comments, people that are watching right now, Fabian is not a proponent of the game evolving, y'all. He does not believe in evolution of the game. That's what you said. If I'm saying it incorrectly, correct me. I'm going to put you in a position to explain that take. Well, explain that to us.
What I mean is that when we throw the word evolution around, all of a sudden NBA fans who failed and dropped out of whatever science class in 9th grade, starting in 9th grade, maybe even 8th grade, all the same people that did that dropped out of science class, that cut school, all of a sudden are science majors and studied evolution. No, that's not how evolution works. Evolution does not mean you automatically get better because the time just took place and that's what happens. No, a lot of things happen. We evolved in the skills of what they allow today. How can we evolve? How can the big man evolve at posting up if you're no longer allowed to do that? Basically, they're restricting you from doing that. So if they put a ceiling, a cap on the post game, it cannot evolve. So that means survival of the fittest. What are they allowing to be strong? The skilled players. So if you were Ralph Sampson, you would look way different today. Ralph Sampson again was the OG to Bobo and Wemby today. We have seen this before. It is nothing new, is my point.
7-4, y'all. 7-4.
So when we talk about evolution, we don't talk about de-evolution. We don't talk about the fact that it can get worse too. It's not just the fact that it gets better. It can get worse, by the way. And evolution it doesn't mean better. It means change for the better or worse. You evolve as a person. It doesn't mean that you actually when we use the word, we tend to use it as
there's a positive connotation. There's a positive connotation behind the word. Yes, Fabian. Agree.
So, and bringing it back full circle, JJ Redick is speaking to the evolution of the Knicks, the great evolution of the Knicks. They're so good right now. I didn't get to that part of the video because I can't find it, but they're so good that they're basically a conference finalist in his opinion. And in your opinion, you can expect and project the conference finals with ease. Both of you guys can, but you're scared. He's scared. They're so good that they have him so shook and scared to say that they are a finals contender. That's how, because we're not used to them being as good. And I saw it again, like I told, the last time I felt this way was the Boston Celtics 2 seasons ago. They're about to make the finals. Oh, wait a minute. Nobody's playing as good in the league. This is crazy. Same thing with the Knicks right now. When they beat the Heat, the way that they beat the Heat, oh yeah, nobody's playing as good right now. They're not. And then Julius Randle lands on his shoulder. And it just, I felt like I said that night, I was Icarus flying too close to the sun. And I dropped. Boom. Because I felt it. Like we are that good, healthy. It's just we have the personnel. You're matching the coach's playing style with the personnel. Going back to your original point, why Stephen A. Smith is a moron for saying it's not a big deal to have Tom Thibodeau left with zero excuses as to why we're going to go to an 8, 9, 10-man roster on a nightly basis. Do not tell us these guys are not available to play. These are your guys. This is not Kemba Walker with no cartilage in his knees. No disrespect to him. This is not Fournier. It's not any of these guys that are one-sided players on the offensive end. No, Bogdanovich is that, but like you said, we're gonna get to that in a second. He's a competitor. Alec Burks was here. If you didn't want him here, you would have said so. You definitely would have said so. And that's why this is important for JJ Redick and everybody like yourself who's scared to call him a conference contender or a finals contender. They're right there. I don't see when you compliment your team like that, and especially your coach. Zach Lowe just came out and said, I can't believe the Knicks look like the single most competent team in the NBA. That's a hell of just a revelation, a realization. Like, damn, Zach Lowe saying that because he's another Knicks fan who's caught up. He's Knicks fan, certified journalist, worked for the New York Times, worked for whatever the hell the Ringer was called before it was ESPN, before Bill Simmons on Grantland. Zach Lowe said this. I know he's going crazy just like us, but I ain't scared to say it. That's the difference. I know what I see. I'm willing to fight you for it, fight you over it, and then you tell me why we're not, but you got to prove me wrong. You got to prove me wrong why healthy. You got offensive rebounders to extend the offensive game that we have. JJ Redick broke down exactly what we do on offense. It's very simple, but we look to extend the game with offensive rebounds, get another 14-second shot clock, and play the running game like they do in football. That's what this is. And on the defensive end, we got 2 or 3 guys that are going to go close out the defensive possession. We're closing out every single defensive possession, and we play the slowest pace in the league damn near. You're not messing with us. They can't mess with us.
I fully see us when we get rolling, when we get fully healthy, because health is a huge issue for us right now. When I see us fully healthy, I can absolutely see us finishing games. Brunson, Bogdanovich, OG, Randall, and Mitchell Robinson. I could fully see us finishing games with that lineup on the floor, right? Fully see us being able to finish games with that lineup on the floor. So, again, like I said, doubles and singles. Yeah, the big names I have us talking. The big names will take over the back page. The big names will be the topic of NBA TV and First Take and Undisputed and Get Up and all of those kind of shows. Yeah, the big names will be those topics of conversations. But I would much rather be a conversation in late May going into June as opposed to a conversation right now in February because we went and got a big name and it doesn't work when playoff time comes. I would much rather do what we're doing than worrying about, you know, clicks and views and what's gonna bring the attention and the eyes to the New York Knicks. What works? What works?
No, let them do that because I'm gonna go reply to it, answer to it. We need a yin and a yang. They're not gonna go away.
But you know what I'm saying, Fabian. What
Yeah,
works,
of
man?
course.
What
The
works?
bandwagon guys are gonna be there for me to laugh at because we're finally doing things the right way, and they're gonna be dead wrong. We got it all on footage. But to your point, speaking of what works and not going for the big splash, you hinted at it, and I found it. Bogdanovich, Bojan Bogdanovich.
You got it. I like for you to look up something else too once we're complete here. Something I think will be interesting. Go ahead.
Bojan Bogdanovich said, "I missed one playoffs in my career. I'm used to big expectations and playing for a playoff team." Whoa, hold on. Let me turn it. He looks like a certified Euro killer.
Just ready to hoop.
I think that we both of us kind of used to it. I miss one playoffs in my career, 1 year playoffs in my career. So it's kind of, I'm used to big expectation and playing for the playoffs team and kind of contenders. So I think that that it's early. We need a time to adjust, but All-Star is coming as well. So it's gonna be kind of easier for us to learn set places and what coach wants us to do.
I wanted to hear more from Alec Burks. I got to hear what he got to say because I want to see.
I love Alec. I'll tell you a story about Alec Burks offline. I don't think I can do that right here. That would get us. I'll tell you a story offline.
So let's react to that because you spoke to it earlier. Him saying that just that's a competitive thing. It sounds like. I'll tell you what I don't like what he said, but you know, what did you get out of that? I missed the playoff one time, but that's very Bob Backlund-ish. I missed the playoffs once. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Well, it sounds like relief first. It sounds like, thank God I am out of Motown. That's what it sounds like first. It sounds like relief. It sounds like he was not looking forward to adding another year on to not being able to make the playoffs because Detroit Pistons won't be in the postseason this year. So it does sound like a bit of relief. It sounds like he's happy to be a part of a winning ball club. It sounds like he's ready to get to work. It sounds like he doesn't have any apprehension about being a part of this ball club. It sounds like he has a level of expectations going forward with this team. I did hear him say it's going to take a second for us to get this thing rolling, which I fully expect us to be to take about a week or two to figure out rotations, especially with health and you know, not trying to kill the momentum of guys. I know that these moves right here, a Bogdanovich and an Alec Burke, right? This is going to affect a couple of guys. This will affect Josh Hart. It will. This will affect Deuce McBride. It will affect him. Those two guys jump out for me as who will be affected in terms of minutes, how often we're going to see them on the floor. Josh is a great defender, great rebounder, but Bogdanovich is a hell of a shooter, a guy that could put the ball in the basket. So you kind of split it down the middle and figure out how do you split minutes between those two guys. So I think.
Well, no, but you got to go into that further because I didn't think about that. I thought that Josh Hart, Bogdanovich, and Alec Burks can play right alongside each other coming off the bench. Any sort of second unit scenario, rotation. I thought they fit quite well in the end of a first quarter, beginning of a second quarter kind of thing. Why do you think they're gonna bump each other's minutes?
Because I think going forward in the playoffs, what we missed last season in that semifinals against Miami was shooting. They were able to start to key in on Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson averaged 30 a game, but they knew where the basketball was going down the stretch of those games, right? When you add a guy that can hit open shots and can create his own shot, then you have to kind of figure out, Bogdanovich is not the second option, but he's an option, right? He is a scoring threat. And that's what puts you in a position now to second guess about helping off of Jalen Brunson when you have Bogdanovich in the game as opposed to having Josh Hart in the game. I watched Josh Hart go for a 23-point triple-double the other night against Dallas. He looked great. He hit a lot of open shots. He rebounded the ball well. He passed the ball well. He looked like a guy, okay, that's what it looks like when Josh Hart gets extended minutes. If you put him in a role to play extended minutes. Can you win games with Josh Hart being your first or second option? Absolutely not. You saw what that looked like against a Dallas Mavericks team. So what I'm saying is that the pieces that Josh Hart gives you are valuable, but we went and got Bogdanovich for a reason. What we miss, he does not shoot the ball like Josh Hart. I mean, Josh Hart does not shoot the ball like Bogdanovich, although Bogdanovich does not rebound nor play defense the way that Josh Hart does. Defense, hustle, all of those intangibles. So I feel like you got to figure out how you're going to get those guys. If you're going to play them together, you're a genius. But if you're not, how do you stagger those minutes? What is more important to you, especially down the stretch in game 5 of a 7-game series when you're down, when the series is tied 2-2 and you want to win this game going away on the road, or, whatever. Like, what's more important is a question that Tip is going to have to answer.
I don't know if we have anyone that shoots, 43% from the wing. Is that the right wing? From 3. Top of the keys, 45, 46%, 10% over the league average. 37% is an average over here. And in the corner, whoo!
It's a layup. It's a layup.
Right. But so he favors the right-hand side because you see the right-hand side of the paint is where he gets his baskets from. So he's probably pump faking.
Who's this we looking at?
This is Bohan Bogdanovich.
This is Bohan. So this is Bogey. Bogey.
So he must be
pump Newport.
This is 30 shots from here, 70 shots from here. And where does he shoot the most from? Yeah, that side of the court, obviously. He's going to shoot more shots, but he shoots 50 from this left wing. For some reason, look, this whole side is where he shoots from, but look at the right corner. See, what corner is that? Like when you look at the court, that's the left corner. The left corner, he shoots 20% from. 20% from. But that's okay because the secret weapon is going to be when we flank OG to that corner. OG shoots 48% from that corner.
48% from that corner. Yep.
And the next one I wanted to look at was, as soon as you started mentioning the shots, it made me think about the shot chart. Alec Burks by season. So because this year he's shooting out of his mind, Alec Burks. So from that same corner, he's
you heard that, Dime Dropper? Dime Dropper, you heard that?
What do you say?
No, he said Alec Burks been doo-doo this year.
Oh, right. He's been out of his mind. But he's shooting 37% from 3 to 10 feet from like by the paint.
Make a layup, Alec. Make a layup, Alec Burks.
Get your life together. But from that same corner, the right, I guess that's the left corner, right? Because your right, when you shoot and your right hand is next to the backboard, that's the left corner.
I mean, just put yourself at the top of the key and look at the rim and what hand. So if you're putting yourself at the top of the key and you're looking at that corner, that's the right corner.
That's the right corner. So the right corner, him and Bohan are ridiculous. And that's the answer to OG on this side. They're going to have to figure out. That's when you got to kind of get creative if you're the Knicks, if you're Tom Thibodeau, which we don't expect at all whatsoever. But That's what I look forward to when I think about those guys. Like, oh, we got two guys that shoot over 30% or 40% from three. Like, he's shooting for like damn near 50% from three. This guy, Alec Burks. They're going crazy. So, like, again, even with Bohan being competitive, I love that. Him saying I missed one game, one playoffs in my entire career. I think he even referred to the Euro era. Yeah. The only thing I don't like and I hate, I despise when they mention. It started with the Miami Heat that the first time I noticed that. Hey, it's gonna take us some time to get adjusted. Hey, it's gonna take us some time to get adjusted. Yeah, no duh. That might be the case, or it might not. Where was that adjustment period when OG came in?
Seamless.
I didn't hear any.
Seamless. A player, a guy like that. But that was my point, Fabe. That was my point. If I could get 2 minutes to go back to what I was saying, bro. That was my point about name and fit, right? When we get a Bogdanovich or Alec Burke, we might be able to go on a 5-game win streak because those guys fit so seamless. But if we get a DeMar DeRozan, a DeJounte Murray, a Zach LaVine, a guy like that, we may go on a 5-game losing streak a la the Clippers when they got James Harden, right? When you get that polarizing figure that you kind of have to figure out how to fit around while they're trying to figure out how to fit in, it's going to take some time. Defensively, you're going to look clunky. Offensively, you're going to look clunky. And you're going to turn the ball over. You're not going to be on the same page. It's just going to look like bad basketball. The Clippers looked like they were playing bad basketball for 5 straight games until it clicked. And it was like, okay, this is where James likes to have it. PG, get your head out your ass. Russell, you're playing amazing. Kawhi Leonard's an MVP of the league. And now they're like, oh, wow. Okay, this is how this works. And we wound up playing some of the best basketball, if not the best basketball in the league. So what I'm saying is that fit and name, you know what I'm saying? Which one do you want? And for us, I think fit mattered.
Fit always matters. And we're not gonna have that issue. I didn't like that part, but I guess he kind of knew what to expect too, Bohan. Like, he's to be a veteran and go and to say that. But come on, man. What trumped everything is I only missed the playoff one time. You're in New York City. You know how the media is. And you came with that shot. Listen, I don't know who you guys think you're talking to. Some things are just subliminal. I don't know who you think you're dealing with, but I missed the playoffs one time. I expect a lot more. So I'm ready for this. A lot more subtle, way more cooler. I like the fact that he's a silent killer, it looks like. Out of his mind, receding hairline. He's going crazy professional.
Fabe, Bogey with the shits. He's with whatever. He's with whatever. He's with whatever. Knockdown shooter, right? A bigger body too. He's not a little guy. This is not a little guy you just rolling out there 6'1", 6'2", go ahead and hit shots. No, this is a big body. This is a guy you're gonna have to defend. Like,
well, here's one guy that, unless you're a super fan of his, you don't defend. And I joke around defending because I think he's gotten away with a lot by scamming the league the way that he has. But Draymond Green chimed in on the New York Knicks pickup.
I saw.
I didn't see it. I'm reacting in real time.
The New York Knicks, they made out extremely well. So now you look at these trades. They got Bojan Bogdanović and Alec Burks and OG Anunoby without giving up a single first-round pick. That's insane. The New York Knicks got better. Does that ultimately put them in the conference finals? Like, Steven, they've been talking. I see a lot of people like, oh, they're going to the finals. They got better. But I don't know if I want to get that far ahead of myself just yet.
Respect. Listen, I hate you on mute right now, Fabian.
I got this. Draymond,
okay.
Mind your business.
Cook.
Mind your business. You have way more. This is what happens when you have a podcast and you're about to get flamed. Mind your business. You're not making the conference finals. You're not going to sniff the conference finals. You ain't going to make no final. Don't bring up your 4 championship spot, whatever it is that you got. Do not talk about us in 2024. You should be worried about calling Jordan Poole, worried about calling your man Bob Myers for selling you out and leaving to go to ESPN because he wanted nothing to do with this mess for them re-signing you for $200 million, the worst signing maybe next to Harrison Barnes? You should be worried about that because we did all this without giving up a first-round draft pick like you did. Do not talk about us. Go talk to Steph Curry. They do not care about your stupid little podcast. They don't. They probably don't care about mine either, but I hope they hear this. I hope they get to hear this because nobody will tell you to your face what it is. What are you talking about? Don't ever speak about the Knicks like that. Ever. We're on fire. And the only reason why you posted this out and made it 20 seconds is because you wanted this. All of you guys need this. You know that we are the fan base. The Golden State Warrior fan base is the geekiest, worst fan base in the history of any sport. They're the worst because they suck. They made up terms like gravity or whatever it is. Your whole fan base stinks. You wish you had the Knicks fan base behind you because you act more like a New Yorker than anything else. But you guys are a bunch of geeks. Don't ever talk about us again. Ever. You shouldn't because we're going to flame you every time. The conference finals, the finals. We have a chance if we're healthy. Guess who doesn't have a chance to go to the finals or the conference finals or the first round or the play-in fully healthy? You.
There it goes. There it goes. There it goes. There it goes.
One by one, we're going to call out every single media member that has a Paul George. You better show up in the playoffs. Trae Young, all you guys that's why I didn't want Jalen Brunson with a podcast. Don't talk. Be the Terminator. Nobody learns from Kawhi. Kawhi is the ultimate. That's the guy I respect the most. It doesn't matter what happens to him. I ain't saying nothing. He's like, come on, man. He's the Rock him of this. I'm not saying anything to no one. How about that?
And
I don't need a podcast.
And the biggest New York Knicks fan calls him the worst superstar in NBA history because he keeps his mouth shut and all he does is just show up and play when he's capable of it. We could say what we want about Kawhi's health history. That's a whole nother conversation. But in terms of when he's on the basketball court, ready to go, your favorite player doesn't want to see him. Comments, whoever you in the comments right now, respectfully, we appreciate all the love and respect. But your favorite player right now does not want to see Kawhi Leonard in the 7-game series. He don't want to. It's just the facts. I don't care. He does not want to see him.
They don't want no problems.
When Kawhi is locked in, top 3 player in the league, argue with your mom.
Bueno.
Argue with her.
My mama just made it over here. Let's chill out.
I
She's
know.
cooking.
Respect to Mama Fabian. We appreciate
She's
you
making
being
her
here.
mashed potatoes. The mashed potatoes that I love. Oh my God.
Oh,
you gotta
man,
try them when you come.
You've been eating them for 40 years. I need that. I need that. Mama Fabe. I'll see you soon.
No, don't call her Mama Fabe. Don't do that. Mama perspective. Give it those.
Mama
Don't do it. Don't do it. Mommy perspective.
Well,
don't go with Fabian though.
Well, look, Mama Flea adopted Mama Flea, so we're gonna go. If her son call her Mama perspective, I'm gonna call her Mama.
Yo,
that was good. That was good.
I'm looking for. Okay, here we go. Now,
Any comments, bro? What we got?
Before we get to the comments, let's do this.
Yeah.
Come on, let's intro preview tonight's game. What do we expect for tonight?
Indy on the schedule, right?
Indiana. Hold on a second. Let's give Tom Thibodeau his 2 seconds. He says
Jalen's game time. Jericho's being evaluated. Isaiah's out. Mitch out. OG out. Julius out. I don't know. But we have more than enough.
Fuck is you giggling about?
I love him. I respect him, man.
Listen.
I respect him.
I do too. When you can catch Tibbs having a humorous moment, you got to take it when you can get it, man. And if you are optimistic like that, because that's optimism, Faye. That's optimism right there, brother. If Tibbs was really worried about what we looked like going forward, he would not have that half a smirk that he has on right now. Of course, he wants to beat Indiana right now. We've lost 2 in a row, right?
Yeah.
We've lost 2 in a row. So we don't want to go into the All-Star break, losing the last 10 games being 5-5, right? We want to go into the All-Star break with a little bit of momentum, right? But I could see my guy Tom Tibby. He got a little bit of optimism over there. He's like, look, Mitch is down, OG is down, Julius is down, and Jalen might not play. What do you expect from me? Whoever asked that question, what do you expect from me? Ian Bagley, Stephen Bondi. What do you expect from me? For real.
Well, we are 1-2 in our last 3. We lost to, just looked it up. The Mavs last. Before that, we beat the Grizzlies. Remember that? That's when Jalen Brunson.
So we beat the Grizzlies, so we'll be on a 2-game losing streak. God, if we do lose tonight.
Well, Jalen's a game time decision, like he said. Hopefully, he just doesn't play him. That'll be crazy. And I just like you. I want to. What is the Pacers? And then I didn't check. This guy's is Halliburton's been playing 20 minutes a game, right?
Halliburton seems to be on a minutes restriction. He seems to have come back down to life. Last couple of games that I've seen, he has assisted the ball well, but he hasn't shot the ball well. Had 15 points or something like that a couple of nights ago. But when I was looking at him, his percentages didn't look good. I did miss that game, so I won't sit here and tell you that I did sit and watch the Indy game, because for the people out there, commenters, people of Knicks Rehab, please understand something. Me, Fabian, and our other brother too, we take pride in actually watching games, like actually watching the guys out there, right? When we want to come up here and talk to you guys and give our unsolicited opinion, but y'all want it. So we're not going to come up here and be irresponsible and not talk about things that we don't know and things that we don't watch. So please understand, like we put a lot into this. We're invested, and we watch as much as we can to give y'all sound takes, not the takes that y'all are gonna go and watch on these networks.
Right, which doesn't take that much. Well, it takes a little spruced up personality.
That's it.
And we all from Queens too, Stephen A. Smith. So come on, you're doing too much.
Queens through and through on the screen right now, through and through on the screen right now. So
last game, the Pacers played Golden State. Halliburton played 25 minutes, almost 26 minutes, 2 of 7. Shot bad, only scored 5 points, 11 assists though. And against Houston, they beat the Rockets. They must have been at home. Of course, they were at home. And he played 29 minutes, 8 of 15, had a really good game, 18 and 7. So the last 2 games, he's been averaging. He had 29 minutes and close to 26 minutes, but before that, he missed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games in a row, and then he had 3 games in a row of minutes restriction of like 20 up to 22 minutes. So he's not on a minute. Oh no, wait a minute. He missed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He missed like 10 out of 11 games at a certain point. And that's Halliburton. Halliburton's on a minutes restriction. He's on I need to play 65 games. Can't miss more than 17 games a season to get my accolades restriction. And I understand that. That's what Draymond Green and them were beefing about. But let's see if that cost them tonight, because you can't just show whenever you feel like it either. He's the kind of guy that Steve Nash type. Like you're the first person I ever heard say that. Halliburton's like Steve Nash, maybe Jason Kidd. Even Joker's a slower version of it, where they constant motion. They have to be moving. So I would think it's hard for someone to just miss 10 games and just pop back in there. I know he's young, but we got to take advantage of him. And he likes to talk. Oh, I forgot they beat the Rockets, and him and Dylan Brooks were going at it. He had the game clinching shot against the Rockets. So that's the thing I do like about Halliburton. He's not scared. He's not just some little flaky, flimsy kid. He speaks really well, and he's not scared. But take advantage of that.
He boomed it on Dante DiVincenzo the last game in the Garden and was chatting, and Dante gave him a little shove. So we something may be brewing between us. Jalen Brunson always takes this matchup serious. I just found out, obviously, through their podcast, that Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, and Tyrese Halliburton have somewhat of a relationship, and so a pretty tight bond. They got a group chat going. They got a relationship. So keep your eye on that for anybody that, buys into relationships off the court and them having an effect on what things look like on the court. But Brunson takes that matchup very seriously. He has taken it very serious throughout the season. So if he does play tonight, look for them to go head to head. The last time that we played, that was the night that Brunson was announced as an NBA All-Star for the first time in his career. Pretty emotional game. Finished that game with 40 plus. Really took it to Tyrese Halliburton and the rest of that Indiana Pacers club. So this is something that is looks like is catching some steam. It's brewing just a little bit. I look for this. I look for this game, if Brunson plays tonight, to be a pretty competitive game.
It was up to 75. I think I seen 75, 77 people in the building today. I appreciate all of you guys. Always showing love. Continue to like, subscribe. Look at this guy. Go highlights. When I put up a voting poll about the Knicks in my community feed. I'll link you, Fabian. Hope that's okay. You guys do a great Knick talk from real New Yorkers. Bless. Yeah, no, bless you, because we do it for you, because we just try to honestly be ourselves, and then just, of course I turn up a little bit, but if you see me in person, I'm even worse. Like, I'm unhinged in person. If I have coffee, it's over. If it's 7 a.m, it's over. 9 o'clock at night, I start to simmer down a little bit. But
that's when I turn up.
Right. You see Flea out of his mind. But like, this is what we want. We don't care like everybody else, no disrespect. We want to invite them on here. They're all the content creators, but you guys are way too stuffy to be New Yorker, like New York fans. How can you possibly be a New York Knicks fan and you guys just sit there like, hey, so that's not how we talk. We go nuts. We are crazy. We are out of our mind. So appreciate you. Go highlights. I will
appreciate you. Go highlights for real.
Somehow. Some comments here. Danny Berry, what's going on? Always showing love. Love you.
DB, you one of my favorites, big dog.
Yo Alpha. What's up, Yo Alpha? Michael Caputo.
Mike Caputo.
Screaming his name. Screaming A Smith should be his name. I like just keeping that Stephen A liar, Stephen A fraud, Stephen A fake Knicks fan. What up, Dredano? I can't stand this clown take on anything New York. Yeah, it's just, you could tell it's just like his Cowboys thing is a shtick. They know.
Yeah.
If we weren't winning, they wouldn't be talking about us. You know what I mean? Like, and it took them a while to talk about us. Like, we were already talking like, yo, this is a good team. Early on we were a little bit like, I don't know what's going on. And I remember in November I asked you, Flea, yo, how good is this defense really? We're 18th in the league. Thibodeau's the coach. What's the point of him being the coach if I don't really see a defense?
You asked that question. It looks night and day, and with the addition of OG, night and day.
Yeah. And now
OG and bringing back Mitchell Robinson, we may look. Somebody said that the only way that we're going to be able to win a championship presently constructed is if we grind it out like that 04 Pistons team, and I fully agree. If we grind it out. Grind it out. Go ahead.
I disagree.
Okay.
I guess by grinding it out, I just always love that Pistons team battle, especially the starting lineup. They're balanced. Offensively, they were different. Defensively, Ben Wallace is not talked about enough. He is the super duper. When they ask who the best player is, it's Ben Wallace, man. He's the identity of the team. You add Rashid. And I never realized how good he was defensively until you brought up the 2.7, what is it, defensive win shares per game. And but we knew Rashid was out of his mind and he could not do that consistently. And when he add that next to Ben Wallace, it's like, oh, this is scary. And we knew they were going to win. Well, everybody didn't know. I had money on them though.
But I get it though. Mitchell Robinson is not Ben Wallace defensively, but understand something. We have not seen Mitchell Robinson and OG Anunoby on the floor together yet to even understand how suffocating we can be as a defensive team. We don't even know what that looks like yet. So let's understand that the current New York Knicks team right now that we have on the floor is depleted by injury, not because of guys that are not playing well. So when we get into a knockdown, drag out 7-game series against your favorite team in the NBA, please understand we will be equipped to do whatever you want. We have 5 of the best 3-point shooters in the league right now, percentage-wise. Not just shooting. I'm talking about percentage-wise. We have 5 guys shooting 39% or better. We have one of the best point guards in the league. We have the best offensive rebound in the league, but he's hurt. We have a bull in the China shop in Julius Randle, who is now a 3-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA player, right? We have one of the best defensive wings in the game, if not the best defensive wing in the game, right? Like, so we have everything necessary to compete in the playoffs this year, y'all. Big shout out to the New York Knicks. Watch out for us, man. That's all I got.
I take it back. You're right. We do have to grind it out because that's even if we sweep full style, it's not gonna be just it's gonna be just a slow. They're gonna be like, yo, we can't do nothing with them. This is good, and that's what I saw with the Heat. I saw them, not that they gave up. It's not that Jimmy Butler and them gave up. It's the fact that you can tell, like, yo, we're trying, and this is Jimmy Butler. I don't want the ball. Nah, I can't. It's not a good miss. It's not a good matchup. Here, rotate. Let me see if I could pick off of OG. Make it a weaker. No, not happening. He somehow OG slides right back in front of you, and we need to protect him though. We need the Mikal Bridges thing seems inevitable. You told me I have to jump off a ledge with the Herb Jones thing. I'm disappointed in Herb Jones. I don't care what you say. He stands around way too much, and I see why people think I'm crazy now. But I just have to concede that the Mikal Bridges thing is inevitable. The Villanova Scova team, and Mikal Bridges is way better offensively, and he won't be a first option. And just to have him, he shoots better from the right corner as well. So to have him and OG there, that's dangerous. Like, he was the point of attack for the Phoenix Suns.
Suffocating.
When we talk about
in recent history, when we talk about the 2022 Boston Celtics, right? That went up against the Golden State Warriors 2 seasons ago in the NBA Finals, right? When we talk about that team that Udoka was the head coach for, they suffocated you on defense, like swallowed you up, pause, by just being able to jump out on the wing, defend wings, defend the interior, stop your point of attack. Like, they were insane. They're great right now. But 2 seasons ago, when Udoka was still a head coach, they made you take your glasses off. Like, what the fuck am I doing tonight? Jesus Christ. Like, how do we get buckets against this team, right? So, very reminiscent of your favorite defensive ball club. The Knicks have the personnel to be really, really good going into the playoffs. What other comments we got?
What up, my peeps? Desmond 777, what's going on? Because he sucks. I don't know what he's talking about, but it's just funny. Fabian in the house. What up? Oh, that's Cuzzo. What's going on, man? Big Heat fan. Keep doing your thing, man. Like I told you, keep responding to the Heat. I'm pretty sure you're gonna. Well, you might say something in the comments right now about us, but tell me what you feel about them, because I know this is the second and third straight season they're playing hide and go seek. What did you feel about them at this point in time? At this point in time of the year, we all forgot about them. All of a sudden, they turned it up and made the play-in, and then of course made the finals. Had another finals appearance, but I don't know about them this year. They gonna, we're worried about them, but I don't know about them. Like, nah, love JJ. I love JJ Redick also. I think he's funny and everything, man. He's good. Only Knicks fan I like. I think he's talking about me. Steve Nash. Let RJ worry about Toronto. We outside.
Yes, sir.
Salute. What up, Samuel? I want to hear from Alec Burks. So do I. I couldn't find anything though. I guess the Twitter sphere. Let me see. Alec Burks. Is there anything interesting that he said? Because I wanted to hear what he said about, at least comparing the Pistons to the Knicks. I know how he wants to play on both sides of the ball. So, here's something, guys. It's only 14 seconds, but we got something for you. We have something. I buy time with my little songs. We have something.
Play the clip.
Hey, Jesus.
Play the clip.
He ain't really changed much. I don't think so. So I know how he wants to play on both sides of the ball. So I think it won't be as hard of a transition for me.
How does that make it? I guess
He knows. He only but 2 or 3 years removed. He understands the expectations from what we look for him. And please understand, you're going to be playing some point guard for the second unit. That's just what you do. That's what Tom Thibodeau has you do. So, as a Knick, be ready to do that, Alec.
I want to see Deuce McBride with a little more space. He can get across the court. He's fake baby Iverson, but with a better jump shot. You know, I said that from the beginning. But McBride won't have to bring the ball up. All you have to do is worry about being the 2 with Burks there. I'm definitely interested in seeing that. And of course, Bogdanovich, if he's not starting, DiVincenzo, whatever it is. I want to see how Bogdanovich does defensively. But definitely McBride is the guy I'm interested in. Can he get more clearer shots? Like this, that's going to be the thing for me because he's the kind of guy. I don't want to say he's on DiVincenzo level of shooting, but he can get us, bro. Again, against the Miami Heat last year, that was the problem. I know how the Heat play defense, bro. You got to get that ball. You got to swing that ball around 3 or 4 times. Once you hit that 4th pass, they're done. They're done because you can't get around like that. And they don't have the personnel to do it. To have the guy sneak in the paint and cut across. Exactly.
They're not as deep. They're not as deep.
And we're going to have 3 or 4 guys out there that can shoot. It's over now. All that them kind of games you try to play, swing around and double somebody up, but no, you can't do it. All that trapping business. I don't know.
I'm not very high on them this year, but I think I've been consistent with that since the top of the season. That I don't think that they're gonna wave their magic wand and Riley slicks his hair back and throws on an Armani suit. And that is the, he does his witchcraft. No, it's not happening. It's not happening this year.
Bojan Bogdanovich and Alec Burks talked about the expectation around the Knicks. Let's go Knicks. Let's go Knicks. Let's go Knicks. Sweet baby Jesus, what's going on? This is so funny. Can't stop smiling. You guys are 100. Thank you, XX Angler. I don't know how to say your name, but XX Angela. It sounds like an X-Men character that, that's like from France. Maybe. Phoenix Plays E was good, baby. Stephen A is a self-hating Knicks fan. That's crazy. An 04 Pistons level team doesn't exist in the modern NBA. That era was way different. That era was way different. The defensive rules were much more lenient on the defense, which allowed those Pistons to thrive. Yeah. But I think this is the closest you could get to it. But we don't have the Ben Wallace, kind of with Mitchell Robinson, Ben Wallace-ish, Hartenstein, defensive-ish, but not quite. Ben Wallace was. We don't got that guy. OG is the closest thing to that, though. I was saying before. I don't know if
Phoenix plays.
The point of attack guy, OG Anunoby and Kawhi Leonard of the world, Mikal Bridges of the world when they're on point, and when he was in Phoenix. The point of attack might be, and you know what else tells the hand about this era with the point of attack? How they're so lost with a Giannis and Brook Lopez, but you got Drew Holiday as the point of attack and over there in Milwaukee, and you surround him with a Grayson Allen's dirty player, but it helps him. Drew Holiday helps those guys in the back really do their job because, come on, these guys are terrified of Drew Holiday in his prime. Point of attack defender is different than back in the day. You were really funneling everyone to the middle. The Bulls kind of weren't doing that. Yeah, but they had 2-3 hounds.
Yeah, because Chauncey and Rip didn't have to be immaculate on-ball defenders. Like you just said, they could funnel to one side. They put their best on-ball defender, Tayshaun Prince, on whoever the best perimeter player is. And yeah, you funnel to the side of the court to where you know that having Ben Wallace on your team, having a Dwight Howard on your team, having a Dikembe Mutombo on your team, an Alonzo Mourning on your team, Dream, David Robinson, those guys, Anthony Davis, those guys put you in a position where if you do make mistakes, if your man does beat you, if you do get put in a position where you're in the wrong position on a pick and roll, if you don't hedge your screen properly and you get beat and your man goes downhill, guess what? Running into Ben Wallace, good luck. Dwight Howard, good luck. Dikembe, Zoe, Anthony, like good luck running into those guys if you do beat we talking about Detroit, beat a Chauncey Billups, a Richard Hamilton. Like the guys that I named, including Ben Wallace, who I think is like elite supreme, those guys allow you to gamble, allow you to exert more energy on offense so that you don't have to be fully fresh on defense, right? Because you got a guy that is going to defend the rim and a guy that, is going to stop your most athletic or most the guy that attacks the rim the best. Yeah, he's going to think about going to the rim because of Ben, because of the other guys that I named. So, yeah, I fully agree with Phoenix plays, but you can defend like that now. The point of attack, though, has to be, how do I say this? The point of attack has to be elite because players are just that much better. Like the guard position back then in 2004, I don't think was comparable to the guard position right now. Guys that were coming at Chauncey Billups, I don't think were as good as guys that are going to be coming at a Jalen Brunson.
They were stronger, but even if you didn't have the perimeter point guard, two guard, because the league was still kind of like revolving around AI is one superstar, T-Mac is one superstar, one team, and then you just try to like figure it out after that. The Pistons played a team game at that point, right? Tayshaun Prince is the guy who erased a lot of these dudes. He's the point of attack dude that he's on the perimeter, and then you have a typical Ben Wallace type who can switch on you and play rim protection. Yeah. That's to your point. The closest team to that is Minnesota.
I just feel like we're still in the golden age of point guards where we could go through a bunch of different guards and understand that, when they're coming at you, you have to be really, really good. Like, let's just say Jalen Brunson may have to go through a gauntlet of a Damian Lillard, a Tyrese Maxey, a Drew Holiday, a Halliburton, right? Like, this era that we're in, the last 10 to 15 years of the NBA is really, really elite guard level play, right? I don't think it was like that 20 years ago, 25, 30 years ago. I'm talking about elite guard play. I'm not discrediting the guards from yesteryear. Please don't confuse what I'm saying. I'm just saying we are in an age of, like I said, a golden era of point guards, of elite guys with the ball in their hands. I just don't think it was so many guys coming at you like that literally 20 years ago during that 2004 run. So for us to grind it out, like I mentioned, as that Detroit Pistons team, I was more so talking from a perspective of offensively. That Detroit Pistons team did not have a supreme superstar level player that was going to give you 25 a night. We got a guy that's averaging over 25 a night, but in the playoffs, things change. So how do we adjust going into the playoffs, defending and being able to score the basketball? That's just my concern. And we'll see what we look like when we get there.
No, that's a great point, because in the 90s and 80s, it was the gauntlet of big men that the centers had to go through, right? Like, so when they try to tell me, like when Dime goes crazy with, Bill Russell, he played competitions. Like, no, he didn't. Like, come on, just like Joker's not playing big men the way he would play a different level of big men back then. That's going to be the knock on him when we compare him all the time. So Brunson is going to be up against the deepest point guard position of all time.
Some ever. Of the best point guards of all time.
Yeah, it's regardless of what people want to say. All right, is De'Aaron Fox as good as Walt Clyde Frazier? All right, let's say no for argument's sake. All right, but you have like 3 more De'Aaron Foxes. No disrespect, SGA and John Morant. There's like, it was never this deep before, so it's tough. It's tough to your points. Yeah, you're right about that.
The best guard right, over a last 10-year span. Argument, whoever we have arguments, but Steph Curry is 1, 2, or 3, right? I don't know who else would say anything different in terms of lead guards. Guy that's going to lead your team to the championship, all that kind of stuff. However you want to slice it. Steph is 1, 2, 3 on everybody's list, me and your list, everybody on the comments list, anybody that's watching right now list, right? But what I'm saying is Brunson has gone head up to get to the NBA Finals against Steph Curry, Western Conference Finals, for all the marbles, for a chance to go get it. He went head up with that dude. Luka was there, but it's him and Luka, Steph and Clay. Head up, Splash Brothers. One of the best backcourts in NBA history. 4-time champions, right? They went head up at an opportunity to play for the NBA title. So, Brunson got a lot of basketball to play, but I trust that. I trust that young man.
Amazement 717. I don't think I've seen you on here. Amazement, what's going on? I get the 04 Pistons comparison, but what about Denver from last season comparison? An elite player, a really good number 2, and solid role players behind them. I like the Nuggets comparison. I do not. The Joker is.
I understand what he's saying, but I don't either.
No, I don't understand what he's saying because the 04 Pistons comparison is about the selflessness. We got a lunatic in Julius Randle the same way they had their lunatic in Rasheed Wallace. Joker is the MVP of the league 2 times over. Could have been 3 in a row. We don't have that. We don't expect that from anybody on this team. Not happening. So
agree.
And the way he controls the game is like none other. So we don't have that either. We're doing everything off complimentary. We're still fighting over the fact whether Jalen Brunson's a superstar or not. And we keep telling everybody, of course he is, because you can't lead this way without being such a star, especially in New York. You can't just win our hearts over like that. It doesn't happen without being a star, especially a superstar. Joker, it took him some time to grind and everything, but it's obvious why he's good. He is who he is. With Brunson, it's not so obvious for people because they use history against him. Oh, he's 6'2" or whatever it is, and no, he still has history against him. So even presently, it's tough for a small guard like that to win you over. It's taking these moments of the Indiana Pacer game, about to be an all-star break, going on Jimmy Kimmel now, whoever, or Jimmy Fallon now, all these things to become this entity that Joker is just by naturally being himself on the court. Amazement. You don't have Nikola Jokic. So he kind of said all that in one sentence.
In one sentence. Easy.
Sorry. Brunson is a top 15 guy. You need a top 5 guy to win a title. You do not need a top 5 guy to win a title. That's the part that
you do. Today you do.
You never did. You what? The Boston Celtics had a top 5 guy and surrounded him with a bunch of top 20 guys. Let's not forget that. But the Pistons in the 80s with Larry Bird.
You said Larry Bird wasn't a top 5 guy?
No, he's a top 5 guy, but you surrounded him with top 20 guys. But my thing is the Pistons were not. Isaiah Thomas might not have been a top 5 guy. I keep asking people that. He may not have been a top 5 guy. He may not have been one.
For who?
In the 80s.
Man, drunk.
No, Jordan, Bird, Magic, that's 3. Kareem, Karl Malone, Charles Barkley. You had a lot of guys back then. Ralph Sampson could be argued.
Zeke.
Karl Malone could be argued. I understand that. We would rather have him because of the leadership. But I'm talking about you need a top 5 guy. They might not have considered Isaiah Thomas a top 5 guy in 88 for the very same reasons you don't give Jalen Brunson his props. Or everyone doesn't. He's not a top 5 guy because
that probably may be true,
tangible.
but that probably may be true, but Isaiah erased that, going to 3 straight finals, winning 2 out of 3, winning back-to-back, the second to do it after Magic. Bird never did that.
Oh, right, but that's
Dr. J never did that.
That's Dr. J went to 4 finals.
I said win back-to-back. That's what I said.
The point is Dr. J was expected to do that. Isaiah Thomas was not. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's still
so expectations and what you do. I don't give a fuck if what I expect you to do. What did you do?
No. We're talking about Jalen Brunson currently right now is not a top 5 player because he's not expected to ever make back-to-back finals. He's not expected to ever be an MVP candidate, a top 3 MVP candidate. So the statement, Brunson is a top 15 guy. You need a top 5 guy to win a title. You do not. Nobody on that Pistons team in 04 was a top 5 guy.
Today, you need tell me a team that won in the last 10 years that didn't have a top 5 guy on as their best player. Tell me.
Well, that's I understand what you're saying. That's a fact. I can't argue a fact, right? But I can argue that you can have the right team in balance, complement them really well, the same way we're doing right now. This team will compete with anybody in any given season, it feels like, with these rules, because you have the right personnel and everything. So to say you need a top 5 guy to win a title, that, come on, in basketball, of course, a top 5 guy gives you an easier chance to win a title than anybody else. Okay, there's no argument there. There's no way to argue that, because in basketball, that's a guy that can impact both sides of the floor, both sides of the game, offense, defense, and 3 if you talk about transition. Football, you can't a top 5 guy doesn't do that. Baseball, a top 5 guy doesn't do that. Only in basketball, because I play both sides of the court. Period. So that's a different story. But to say you need one, nah, do it the right way like this, and we can have a dynasty-like team. You can.
The league has just gained a little bit of parity over the last 5 years. At one point, the NBA had zero parity. If you were the best team, 9 times out of 10, you were going to win. For a 30-year stretch, we could name only maybe 5 to 10 teams that won championships, right? Now, in the last 5 seasons, 5 different teams have won. There hasn't been a back-to-back champion over the last 5 seasons. That's not normal in the NBA over the previous 30 seasons. So what I'm saying is there's more parity in the NBA now. So maybe we could think that we could fall in the category of finding a little luck with playing out of our minds to combine to win a championship. That's more prevalent today. But in terms of what we've been watching for a longer period of time, Miami won back-to-backs. Chicago won 2 3-peats. Houston won back-to-back. The Lakers won 3 in a row. Like the Golden State won back-to-back. Like, if you start thinking about teams, right? There's only but a few teams. Boston won 1. Dallas won 1. Miami won 1. Right? Like, there's only but a handful of teams that you can think of over a long period of time that snuck one in. For the most part, if you're the best team, you usually gonna win. It just is what it is. And nowadays, we are adding some parity. So yes, the Knicks could fall into that and say, hey, let's grab one while we can. So, those dynasty. Go ahead, bro.
No, I agree, but you can't argue what you're saying, right? That's all a fact. My only argument is always going to be, we had Donnie Walsh, who was the leader of the blueprint, wrote everything for the Pacers, kept them competitive throughout the 2015 without a top 5 player. We brought that guy in here.
Makes us believe Reggie Miller's a Hall of Famer, but another story.
That's crazy to say he's not. But to say if we had a Donnie Walsh for the last 20-25 years, we would be competitive for the last 20-25 years. The Miami Heat are competitive without a top 5 player. They went to 2. How many finals they've been in the last 4 years? 2 out of the last 4.
Did they win?
Bro, you're right there. You're right there. All you really need. We don't expect any Jaime Jaquez. I understand what you're saying, but when you have a Miami, now you do the same thing. All I've ever asked is you do the same thing the small market teams are doing. The same exact thing, but bring it to New York. We don't need you, LeBron, because now you could tell them, oh, we don't need you. When you sit at the table, like, you want to come with us or you don't. Now, when you keep chasing these superstars, of course you're going to get off the high. You're going to keep chasing these stars, and you're going to feel like LeBron can tell you, well, get out of here, and you're going to feel bad about it. But if you have a system and a culture in place already like the Heat do, all you need is another 2 or 3 guys on the team to keep this chain gang going. That's all I've ever wanted, and I'm getting it.
Hey, serious question. 2020 NBA Finals, Miami versus Lakers. They lose in 6. 2023 NBA Finals, Miami versus Denver. They lose in 5. Right? Did I get that right? They lost in 5 games. At any point in those 2 series, did you ever think Miami was going to win?
No.
Okay. So when you say that like that, right, and just being right there, were they really right there, or are they just the representative for the Eastern Conference? Are they really have an opportunity to win the NBA Finals, or did they just make the show and they just got to show up?
They're both.
Oh,
They're certainly
no, you can't.
both.
No, I'm not letting you do
Hold
that.
on.
No, no.
No, there's hold
All-
on. They're certainly a representative of the Eastern Conference because they won. Number one. Number two, there's certainly they didn't have a chance in our book because it's Joker, Anthony Davis, and LeBron who make the game easier for everybody else. We understand this on both sides of the court. For as much as we talk about Joker's defense, lack thereof, all right, we understand it, but he's a big body who's not silly. He's out there, he moves correctly.
He's not a cone.
Right. He's not a cone as much as they proclaim. And I made the mistake of saying that as well. But the point is this. They were a bunch of second rounders out there in Miami. Part of the reason why you had to do that was because they pulled it off, but they didn't pull it off. You still need 2 or 3 guys that can really shoot out there. Tyler Hero. Now you have Tyler Hero healthy. Jaime Jaquez back or being the rookie who's sensational. The other guy, Duncan Robinson, looks like he's actually going to the basket now. All right.
What did I tell y'all? He's more of a basketball player than shooter now. Duncan Robinson can put it on the floor. He can get to the rim. He can get to the free throw line. He can pump fake, one dribble, pull up. He's not just a catch and shoot guy, not just a guy that can just hit open shots. He's a better basketball player. Go ahead.
Right. So is Jimmy, the problem is part of the problem is Jimmy Butler's not a top 10 player in the league in the regular season, which you always say. That's what you always point to.
I do point to that.
Jalen Brunson kind of is. And we need another guy like that. Perennial, maybe on the cusp, top 10, top 15. That's what you really need. And then you can surround them with a bunch of other guys. But to say you need a top 5 guy, of course, it's easier with them. Mike just happened to have the right guy in Jerry Krause. If not, he would have had to have found a different location to win. Because that's why LeBron left Cleveland. We all know this. You were right there and you go, I can't win with these guys. It's not just my teammates. It's not my teammates' fault. It's really you up top. If I want to win, if I want to make this thing happen, I gotta get out of here because I might win one. But how long is it gonna take me? 10 years? They're gonna think of me as like I'm like Kevin Garnett or something. I'm not that.
Go get me Scotty. Go draft Horace. Go draft Scotty. Go hire Phil Jackson. Let's figure it out from here. Okay, I'm gonna take a break. We lost Horace. Go get Dennis. Go get Ron Harper. Go get some guys that defend. I don't give it. And I got this from here. Got
it. And Leon Rose just created that. Like if a top 10 guy was available, this is all they've been saying. All you got, it started after the first time I saw it was Gary Payton in the 90s. I ain't going to New York the way they talk about us. The media, them guys are crazy. I ain't going over there because it's uncomfortable. But now Leon Rose made it to where it's like, bro, we got the whole city on smash. They love us and the team. It can't get any easier for you, especially if you're Giannis. It cannot get any easier for you. It can't.
I wanted to bring something to your attention. I'm not sure if you were familiar, but I wanted to bring something to your attention and to all the supporters, everybody that supports Knicks Rehab. I won't take credit because I was listening to something that Rachel Nichols was talking about, and I thought this was really, really important, especially for really the top third of the league, top half of the league. So going forward, starting this summer, you will not be able to aggregate contracts to get a superstar level player. What do I mean by that? So if we were interested in going to get Anthony Davis, but we needed Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson, and OG's contracts to match up to go get Anthony Davis, you no longer can do that in the NBA. It has to be a player for player. Money has to match up. So you cannot put 3 contracts together to go get Giannis Antetokounmpo. You can't do it. Players Association had to sign off on it. Everybody had to sign off on that. I don't know if that's the greatest thing to do because that is going to create GMs and presidents of basketball operations have to be extremely creative now They have to understand the cap. They have to understand how money works. You cannot just throw together 3 different guys, and because another team is trying to get off their contracts and they want to move a superstar and not lose him for nothing, you make that deal. That no longer can happen in the NBA. I thought that was extremely interesting, especially for the top half of the league. I wanted to hear your thoughts on it, and if people in the comments had anything to say about that.
Give you that in 2 seconds. Breaking news. Jalen Brunson is starting. Tyrese Halliburton is starting. Starting lineup right now for the Knicks: Jalen Brunson, Dante DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, Achua, and Taj Gibson. Wow. I don't know how I feel about that. How do you feel about that?
Taj Gibson to another 10-day contract. I'm so sick of taking him away from his family. I'm so sick of taking him away from his family. Go home, Taj. Go home. Enjoy your wife and children, man. Enjoy the fruits of your labor. Stop coming back here. They took him out the game the other night. He was so gassed and so happy to come out the game. It was hilarious. Please, Isaiah Hartenstein, get healthy. Mitchell, we need you. Precious, we need to be able to play you at the 5 some games. You cannot be playing. Send Taj home. Let him enjoy his children. Please.
That was crazy.
Please. I'm so tired of taking him off his couch. When we talk about that off the couch term, everybody from New York City, y'all understand. If you're a New York hooper, you know what I mean by off the couch. Stop taking him off the couch. Let him relax.
Well, now we got the lineup straight. Yeah, I've always kind of known that. I was always confused about the salary cap because this is going to be the anti-super team era.
Yeah.
So you can't have 3 guys super team. Also, something that nobody talks about, and I keep repeating, and nobody has said it. If you're a player, you can own a piece of a team, and you don't have to even play for that team. Once again, if you are playing in the NBA, you're Giannis Antetokounmpo, you can own a piece of the Knicks theoretically, and not play for the Knicks. That's something that's not talked about either.
Dame just expressed interest that he wants to own the Portland Trailblazers at one point in his career. So I just read that maybe an hour ago, 2 hours ago.
So, and they just named a practice center after him or something like that. But I mean, it would take. I saw it with the way you explained it. It seems like you would have to trade Julius Randle for Giannis straight up if the money matches or it doesn't match. I don't know.
Yeah, the money has to match straight up. So
okay.
What we got?
So and that's another reason why I feel like we're doing it the right way. That's all. And if you think about it, I think they're trying to find a loophole with that. That's why the All NBAs and the All Stars. If I fake a couple, like I don't make them, I don't play enough games. You could kind of say, well, I didn't play 65 games, so I'm not All NBA, so I can be traded for whoever right now. You got to prove to me on paper that I am Giannis. Like there's gonna be a lot of scam. I would predict in the next 10 years.
It's gonna be some goofy shit going on. Yeah, it's gonna be some goofy shit going on. Yeah.
Yo, what
yeah,
do you mean
I agree with you, Faye, because it's gonna hamstring. It's gonna hamstring a lot of different teams, right? And now, like I said, a lot of the novice GMs and president of basketball operations, right? Like one of the guys that we loved a couple years back, Landry Fields. Landry Fields was a Knick. If anybody that's not familiar right now, Landry Fields is the general manager for the Atlanta Hawks. But he is much of a novice in that position, maybe only 2 to 3 years at the helm. So a situation like this, when it is time to get off of Trae Young, how do you make that deal? You got to figure out how to make that deal, right? That's going to be tough. Mike Dunleavy, general manager for the Golden State Warriors, was mentored by Bob Myers, so he understands it, been around the league his entire life. Daddy is Mike Dunleavy Sr. We know who he is, longtime head coach, former NBA player. So Dunleavy, has NBA pedigree. But at the end of the day, I don't give a fuck about the pedigree. You got to understand dollars and cents. And when it was easy to package up a couple of different guys to go get the guy, I'm going to be interested how he decides to get off of Draymond's deal. How, when he does play Klay Thompson, because they are going to pay him. How next season, when they are pissed off about the contract, how do they get off that deal, right? Guys are going to have to get creative on how they get off of bad deals. So I'm going to be interested to see it.
We'll see.
What we got?
Yeah, but we have an elite in Brunson, not a Jokic type, but in terms of a superstar, though,
No.
yeah, we have a guy you can.
No.
You can. That's. I think so. I think you have a guy off the court. He has all the intangibles. I'm not sure how Joker is off the court as far as. I think there's on the court personality, off the court personality. Dirk Nowitzki off the court is not inspiring nobody, right? On the court though, that is, oh my God, I wish I was you talent. Same thing with Joker. Off the court, he's racing his horses or whatever he's doing.
Which doesn't matter. All that matters is what do you do between them four lines. At the end of the day,
That's not true. You can't say that and see what Brunson is doing and Halliburton.
What are you talking
about? You can't say that. These guys
all I care about is what they do on the basketball court. I don't care what Brunson does off the court. Respectfully, none of these niggas.
Not even John Morant.
Bro, when it go, see, you're a funny ass. Yo, all right. Yes, I care about what Ja does off the court because it's detrimental to his career. But when I talk about guys, what they do off the court, we mentioned a Joker playing with horses, but then we go to Ja, he plays with guns. So it's a different type of, it's different.
Well, but it's also, it speaks to their personality, like what they're really invested in, because you're young and you're not realized in a certain way. Like Allen Iverson was trying to party all day. So I don't know how long that lifespan is, but we know this can crash at any given time. We know that he's a rock star.
So
John Morant, rock star.
So let me correct myself. I fully agree with you. I was wrong in the way I said that. I do not care about what you do off the basketball court as long as it is not detrimental to what you look like on the court when it's game time. I don't care. And a lot of the reasons why Chuck's behavior off the court was dismissed. I just watched Dante Jones sitting with Paul George, and Dante Jones talked about Allen Iverson and how special of a just human being, forget player, human being athlete. This dude would come off the court, giving you 50, go party for the entire night, meet y'all there. I don't care how he got there. He gonna meet y'all in the next city and be ready to rock and roll. That is a one of one, right? That is not something that you imitate. That is not something that you think works. Rod Strickland said the same exact thing, and we saw Rod never was an all-star. Rod started to bounce around after a while. Rod didn't reach the heights that he thought as a basketball player he was going to reach because he didn't invest the time in being a supreme athlete. On the other hand, Allen Iverson did everything Rod Strickland did off the court, but came on the court and was a 10-time All-Star, one of the best players of all time, right? He was one of one. It doesn't work like that for everybody.
And shout out to Beloved, because he always asked me like, who's more talented, Kyrie or AI? Or I forgot what the conversation was. I said, bro, it's not even close. AI is just showing up to play ball. Like that is like the God's gift. We've been around people that just pick up a ball and they're good. Like, well, how did you do that? You just picked up the ball yesterday? What is that? They're just, it's a gift. He's supremely talented, never worked on it. And again, that's why I always say, like, you can say what you want about like Tim Duncan and Jalen Brunson is different now. He's starting to get into rock starish territory. Tim Duncan never had to worry about what Iverson had to worry about. Iverson got girls around him from when he was like 9 years old.
It's choices. It's choices. It's personality. It's swag. We're gonna be honest. We're gonna have an honest conversation real quick. Choices, personality, swag, who you put yourself around, upbringing, where you come from. You just brought up Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan is from St. Croix. He grew up swimming. He was not in an environment where he had the potential to get locked up. Allen Iverson grew up in Newport News, Virginia. Tough upbringing, devoid of a father in the household. Coaches and mentors become guys that help raise him, but he is a knucklehead is in a single parent household from a mother, unfortunately, those situations breed it being a struggle growing up as a young man. So what happens? You get in trouble. You get into things that unfortunately hinder you from where you're going. God bless John Thompson for saving that young man's life, right? But Tim Duncan doesn't have to go through that simply because of who he is as an individual and how he grew up, right? So it's, I don't know. I don't know. Every situation is different. I'm not knocking Ja Morant, but if I was to line them up and tell me who's going to, go through a tougher situation, Ja Morant or Jalen Brunson, if you had to ask me and I have enough information, I'd go Ja Morant. That's I'm sorry, but it is what it is. So
Yeah, I think anybody would. I just think what I'm saying is that he has this and he's Jalen Brunson. Like if that you could tell the upbringing, and he's like John Morant. The NBA wishes he was more like Jalen Brunson.
Mm-hmm.
It would be over. He'd be. I mean, that's what Grant Hill essentially was.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying.
And that matters
that's
off
fair.
the court with this team, because I don't want to say Melo wasn't that, but he kind of wasn't that, and he was more entertaining the BS. And let's be real, Melo. You're infamous now for David Stern pulling you into the office. You think I don't know who's this guy? You don't think I know that guy in the video? You think I know? Being the NBA is okay. Why do the NBA have? Why are you calling the NBA the feds? Jalen Brunson would never refer to the NBA as the feds because he's not into that. The only reason why the feds would be someone who's opposite of you. You should never have to worry about the feds if you are a basketball player and you're not towing that line. You want to be a rock star. Let's be a rap star. Let's be honest. And I saw a really good conversation with Rashad McCants and Gilbert Arenas. That was really good. Really good. And they were speaking to that, like with the hip hop influence. And Rashad McCants was like, I did what the rappers wanted to do. And Gilbert Arenas was flat out the opposite. No way. I wanted to get this car because of this player got this car. You can't tell me you got, and Rashad McCants is a total. And that was an arena, no pun intended, where I love to hear Rashad McCants because it sounds way more honest and more thought out and believable what he's saying than when he's defending players and basketball points that are horrible. This is real life stuff that he can teach other players and other teammates and other people watching. So that was an amazing conversation. It had to do with this. Like Melo thinks David Stern is the feds. Like, yeah, but they make $8 million a year.
To be fair to Melo has a career that is twofold. Melo has his career as a Denver Nugget, and when he becomes a New York Knick, I think that he is a completely different guy off the court than he was as a Denver Nugget. I think it's just night and day. So the things and the struggles, and I'm sure the people that he was hanging around, all of that kind of stuff was very different as a Nugget than it was as a Knick. A little more mature, a little more invested into, that segue going into that 2009 season where he brings Chauncey in and Chauncey changes the entire fabric of that locker room. Then you come in as a Knick, you got a few years, and then boom, Jason Kidd comes in the locker room. Like, it's a level of maturity that I think a light switch went off for Melo, and he started to look at things just as a basketball player, not on the court. I'm talking about off the court, what it takes to be a pro. All of these guys are successful. Wade won a championship.
And that's the hard part, yeah.
Wade won a championship. LeBron won a championship. Bosh won a championship. I'm the guy that didn't, for whatever reason, go over the reasons, whatever. But I'm the guy that didn't. And I'm also the guy that got in different kinds of trouble early on in my career. Those other three guys that I named did not have any of those issues, right? So I understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying is that he matured once he became a Knick. We could talk about who he was as a Nugget all we want. That David Stern shit, that's as a Nugget. As a Knick, class personified. So I'm a Melo apologist for the people out there. I'm a huge Melo apologist. I just wanted to say that real fast.
I'm not, and
I know
like
that.
to say that.
I know
He's,
that.
but I love him though, because like I said, I think he's one of the most honest. Like I love when he talks. I think he's, whether I disagree or not, he's very honest, very raw, real. I love it. He's authentic, but if you're a superstar, there's a lot of little tweaks and what not to do if you want to win. To be honest, like those guys link with each other to win. They knew, like, hold on, we want some championship rings. He said, "Nah, man, give me 20 million.
Yeah,
I don't care about that.
Give me my
Go,
paper.
trade me for the whole team." And there's nothing wrong with that. Just don't act like the world is against you. No, that's how the system is built. And you try to go against the grain. And I give him kudos for that. He went against the grain and he came to New York when nobody wanted to come to New York.
Nobody.
Melo did that.
Yeah.
So
Much love.
we get to these comments because the game about to start.
Yeah, get to these comments and take us home, Fred. We didn't get it, people. Definitely some heavy overtime this evening.
Stephen A, fake Knicks fan. OG and Dante were the key missing piece to our puzzle. We need some shooting and a guy who can defend the wing better. All we really need is someone to help Brunson with ball handling. Burks can do that. Yeah. Looking forward to upgrading that in the offseason also.
Brogdon,
the Raps fell off hard. They had Lowry, FVV, Danny, Kawhi, Siakam, OG, Gasol. Those are 7 all-league level defenders. Gasol was way out of his prime. Gladly you didn't mention, what's the guy from
good team defender by the time he was a Raptor. But yeah, you're right. Nothing like,
come on, that's not all world Gasol. OG was hurt.
It's not.
Fred VanVleet was not an all-world defender. Kyle Lowry was not an all-world defender. Danny Green would show up sometimes.
Go check what Toronto was as the defensive team that year.
I get that, but that's also Kawhi, Siakam, OG sometimes, and then you have we're not mentioning Ibaka there. So they dressed them up correctly. You replaced DeRozan there, so and they were in tune together for years. With DeRozan was there, and you upgraded with Kawhi. I get all of that, but the point is if the Knicks had this, it's easier for them now with these general managers to have 2 or 3 more guys like-minded like that in New York, as opposed to Toronto, where the taxes are crazy. Nobody really wants to play there because of the taxes. Let's be clear about that. In New York,
you missing Phoenix players' point though. I fully understand. Okay. I fully get you. 7 all-league level defenders. That doesn't mean that they are perennial. That means Lowry. Well, you asked for Kyle Lowry the other day. The only reason Kyle Lowry would be on the NBA team right now is because he can still defend and he brings leadership. Fred VanVleet is bringing a level of leadership and defense to that young team out here in Houston. Danny Green kept the job because he can shoot and defend. Kawhi Leonard, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. OG, all NBA level defender. And Gasol, a former Defensive Player of the Year. So Phoenix player, all he's saying is that these are 7 guys that when you talk about defense, you can name 7 of these guys. Just they can't do what they did in 2019 in 2024. None of them. And not even Kawhi still.
Okay, all right, but that same team can win today.
Who?
That 2019 team at that same age, that at that point in their careers, if they played that same team today, they win today. The championship level team today. Maybe. All right. Maybe. All right. On one team as well. That's crazy, Phoenix. That is some crazy elite D with Kawhi, OG, and Siakam. Crazy length. Yeah, OG wasn't hurt though. Amazement. Gasol was the anchor of that team on the back line. Fun times. I think I'll survive the rebuild though. He was, but come on, man. Anchor? I didn't want to argue with Phoenix players.
It's then I'll be not that long ago. Go look, Fabian.
I will. Facts.
You like game tape now. I like the fact that you like looking at game tape. Shout out to Fabian.
Now, don't be disrespectful. Facts. Prince frustrated Kobe at times in that series. Prince, what he did to T-Mac was insane. They were up, was it 2-3-0, and T-Mac thought he was on the next round, and they smacked.
They were up 3-1. Go ahead.
I was 3-1. I was a T-Mac fan. Is the key word. What Flea is saying, you can play a physical, gritty defense, but you need an elite point of attack defender to complement a great backline in the modern NBA. He didn't say that. You didn't say that.
You don't listen. But go ahead.
Cool. No.
Cool. It's cool. No, if a commenter can understand me during my rants and not my call, then I don't know what to tell you. Shout out to you, plays.
This is what I was saying. I think the point of attack today is more important than ever before. because the back line defense is going to always rotate. We don't have the big man to anchor anymore. So the point of attack is basically the new kind of rim protector in a way, because you need that guy, the Mikal Bridges. If you get Mikal and OG, it's over. But they're not rim protectors all the time. They're rotating on the perimeter, no, and across the, what am I saying, the bridge, the paint.
Yeah.
No,
Y'all didn't. You see,
or is that the back
y'all
line?
Family, y'all see he ain't like that, right? Go to the next comment. Family, y'all see that he ain't like that, right? I know. It's all good. Next
What
comment.
you mean?
I didn't say that.
Okay, so what do you say?
I did say that. Go to hell, Fabian.
Randall and OG are going to need games and touches.
Yeah.
OG doesn't. OG just goes out there and give me 4 touches. I want to.
Randall's gonna need to get back into shape. We know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Randall's gonna need to get back into shape. We know that.
And I hope he's sitting on the sideline realizing, hey, when I'm here, I should be doing this. Run through transition, speed up,
Find his spots.
accelerate.
Definitely, Fabe.
Yeah.
Definitely, bro. Definitely.
Isaiah is a top 5 guy. You wildin'. All I'm saying is Long Island Sound, the way everyone sounds like, the way they talk about Isaiah Thomas or Jalen Brunson today, they might have been talking about Isaiah Thomas in 85, 86. They may have been. Because I know he was I think he's the number 2 pick in his draft behind
Mark McGuire.
That's crazy. Yeah, because he got traded for. They traded for him. Yes. So maybe it's different. Maybe he is touted a lot better because, come on, number 2 draft pick. The expectations are through the roof. You're with the Pistons and you're
just
really
won a national championship with Indiana with Bob Knight. Like this,
right. But Jalen Brunson gets the underdog thing. All I'm saying is that I can see why people say he wasn't back then, but I obviously was not.
Very similar though, Faye. Jalen Brunson won 2 national championships as the lead guard in Nova. So yeah.
And Jay Wright, his head coach, called Bob Myers directly and said, "Bro, I don't know what you're thinking, but this guy's the best player on our team. He's too small. He can post anybody up. He can't do that in the NBA." Oh yeah, I'm telling you. So for Jay Wright to advocate for him, you gotta advocate for your guy. But again, he was doubted from the beginning. So I don't, I would think Isaiah Thomas was, but again, that's the whole thing about living it. Like someone like Long Island Sound, we need you to tell us when you lived it, was everybody unanimous? Everybody said Mike is the best at one point. They had to have I don't know who's messing with Mike. I don't care if he won or not. When he came to your town, it was like, what is that? Isaiah Thomas, and mind you, shout out to Steve Burt Sr. and Gary Springer. They were the ones that told us we played. Isaiah Thomas was crazy. He was shorter than both of them, but he was mad strong. He would get you out of the paint with his forearm. He was just different. You couldn't believe he was that strong. So there are stories that I've heard where it was like, no, the players knew. Oh, the players knew he was that good.
Big shout out to Big Flea though, real quick. Big Flea, my pops. He's been an advocate of Jay Wright being the head coach for the New York Knicks. I want y'all to hear that first. Big Flea has been calling for Jay Wright to get away from CBS, running his mouth about college basketball, and become a head coach. I just wanted to say that out loud.
But the fact you're going all the way to 88, he's the last 20 champs, best player. They're all consensus top 5 guys. Yeah, Joker, Steph, Giannis. I get that, Phoenix, but I get that. But nobody, the small market teams have to operate like that because they have to be creative. They don't have the Lakers, the Celtics, the Bulls. The Knicks should have been operating like at minimum a small market team if you didn't have a big time star here. That's a shame what's been going on the last half my life, basically. It's actually a shame. But if we been doing this from 20 years ago, we would have had championships or contending and had way more fun than this. Because right now it's the changing of the guard. 14 was an exception, but that's Duncan, Parker, Kawhi, and Manu. Yeah, but and Kawhi is a top. We didn't know he was a top 10 guy. He was a top 10 guy. We didn't know it.
He was on the way. Word. He was right there.
13 on LeBron,
yeah,
12 LeBron.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. But okay. Yeah. Well, what happens when LeBron stays in Cleveland in that season? And then D Wade and Chris Bosh hook up somewhere else. Melo's in New York. Does he beat Paul George and the Pacers? Like, it's easy to say that if they don't make the choice to surround the best guy with other players, you still need to compliment whoever. And of course, you need super complementary pieces with the other guys if we operate in the small ball system.
Interesting too. If you see this too, we need a comparison. A what if? I mean, you love to do the what ifs, OG. If you're listening, we need a what if. What if Braun stays in Cleveland. Bosh and Wade decide to hook up. Melo goes to New York. Who comes out the Eastern Conference? Cleveland, Miami, the Knicks? That's interesting. Just
Chicago.
thoughts. Chicago. If was a fifth, I get it. That's all shoulda, coulda, woulda stuff, but just a cool conversation to have when we get a chance.
The Butler era peaked in 21-22. They had a chance to win it all if they stayed healthy. Tyler Kyle got hurt. They still went 7 versus Boston and the chance to win it. Right. Jump shot away from making the finals.
Fact, hit the back rim, front rim. What was that?
I forgot, but it was just the fact that he was
Jimmy
tired.
missed it though. But
yeah,
right
the
there.
7 games, you're right there. And again, could you really ask for more? You just they maxed out, and that's what you want. We are going to win tonight. You're right, Long Island. The game just started. 5-2, pages are up.
I'm about to
Favorite
go check
perspective,
it out.
expected, so accepted. Deja un like, comentario, y suscribe. Dame dato. Knicks Rehab. That's Flea. I'm favorite perspective. We out of here, man.
Holla.
He's been doing his push-ups.